So I want to welcome you to Unlock the Money in Your Mind. I am the hypnotherapist, Melanie McCool. And today I'm going to try to keep this brief. I'm going to give you the symptoms that people often experience when they have what we call money blocks, or what I think of as poverty programming. And I'm going to give you an absolute proven way to change the trajectory of your life and much faster than you probably think possible. And I am going to keep it rather brief, but I am really excited to have more in-depth conversations with you one-to-one. So stick with me here as we uncover some of the stuff that's probably hidden very deeply in the subconscious mind, and have I'm extending you a bottle of hope. All right. And knowing that, what's gone before, it's really not your fault. And from this point on, you have an absolute action plan, a path that can help you to experience what you have desired, right? What you've dreamed of, what you've imagined, that juicy dream life, without all of the sneaky subconscious limiting beliefs. So what prepares me to speak to you about this? First, I want to give a disclaimer. I'm a hypnotherapist, and I do deep change work with people. Deep change work that can happen regardless of backstory. Okay, so working with me as the entrepreneurship hypnotherapist doesn't mean that you're going to have to delve into, uncover, and dissect all of the trauma in your life or multiple lifetimes. Okay. However, what I'm about to explain to you will give you the understanding that I have that can help you to bust through that without having to go through, lifetimes of therapy or a long period of work. And this, what I'm about to outline for you, didn't just work for me. It's worked for my clients. And we're talking about people who have, busted through income plateaus, the glass ceiling in their mind so quickly to go on to make twice as much money with half the work, and to see a ripple effect of this work in their lives, in their families' lives, in the people that they work with lives. So I'm about to tell you a bit of, what prepared me for this moment on this day that I deliver you Unlock the Money in Your Mind for, I don't know how many times I've been, I have spoken of this to illuminate what may be, your self-sabotage, what is causing those self-sabotaging patterns, perhaps procrastination or the glass ceiling in your mind, illuminating them, and then showing you the way to make it very different very quickly in your life. I didn't want to, I've given you that disclaimer because my story actually starts when I'm about 11. So just so that you are aware, I believe that it is difficult to really get help from somebody who hasn't experienced what, or at least a version of what you've been through. And so I tell you this part, not just so I can share my story, which is what all speakers will do. Is that right? But so that you understand that the path that I'm giving you is one that I have been on since I was about 11. And I've been on that path since about age 11 is the earliest I can remember, because I used self-hypnosis to overcome insomnia and bruxism, which is that clenching of the jaw, results in this TMJ, it's headaches, it's all kinds of things. And the reason this little girl had insomnia and bruxism is because up to that point, I'd already experienced many traumas and big T traumas. If you're familiar with the ACE scores, so here I'm going to start to ask for some participation. If you're familiar with the ACE scores and ACE studies, just let me know that I'm speaking to an audience that may have done some of this work for yourself already, trying to uncover what's blocking or stopping you, right? So an ACE stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. And what they did a study in it basically was the correlation between these adverse childhood experiences and disease in the body. We already know that, of course, adverse childhood experiences likely, very often result in, early death, incarceration, horrible traumatic outcomes in life. But for those who survive, I say survive, I don't say thrive. For those who survive that, the resilience, we develop that resilience, there is often an outcome of dis-ease that comes down the road. This is what they discovered. So in looking at that and looking at the ACE scores, and this was something that required me to overcome shame. Why do we carry around shame for the things that happened to us when we were children? We do, darling, and we can help you to overcome that. But I have a perfect ACE score, so a 10 out of 10. And you want a 0 for your kids, okay? So I experienced all of those, adverse childhood experiences that they could list. And so by age 11, I knew I had to do things differently from my family of origin, and without judgment and with full compassion, different from my family of origin and the patterns that they were living under. I didn't have the language. I didn't know what was going on when I was, just 11 years old. But I'll tell you, I've been doing what people call personal development or personal development. And I was a real seeker for, 40 years almost here. And so the work that I give and the work that I do, the work that I give you to help you to make the changes is the work that I did and continue to do, and the work that I give my clients to have those major results. So some of the symptoms that I had experienced based on a neglect and definite, what we call poverty programming, I pretty much had all of the underlying reasons, what we call money blocks. They played out everywhere, and not just money blocks, but blocks in all the other areas of our lives that we think of as prosperity. I am the founder of Programmed for Prosperity, and that is a self-hypnosis course to help you to eliminate those subconscious blocks so that you can live a life of your dreams without sacrificing anything you love, without sacrificing your health, your happiness, your relationships, your well-being, all of the above. But I had all the blocks. You could say I had all the blocks. And in doing this work, it led me on a path that I couldn't have, painted for myself. And it was a path of ultimately, regardless of what I was doing for a living. So I started in online business, different online entrepreneurial ventures in 2000. And by 2006, I was coaching, I was training, I was teaching how to do the same. So I was a digital course creator, a coach. I worked with people then in sales and marketing training and leadership for years. And in doing that, I've literally worked with tens of thousands of people all over the world. And I saw the same patterns over and over again. And it didn't matter. Well, it did matter. Some of the patterns were directly related to the type of upbringing that they had, the type of government they lived under, the experience of women in that culture. All of that definitely played out. But these patterns, they kept repeating. kept seeing them. And I recognized them as self-sabotage. And when I was working, as a trainer, a teacher, a leader, I could work with somebody with 7, 10, 11 years. And I knew that I couldn't teach them another darn thing. But there was something stopping them. And at the time, I didn't have the tools. I didn't know how to help them. I could tell them what I'd been doing, right? But my work wasn't done at that point. Let me tell you that. It's still not done, but it wasn't nearly as effectively done as it was, in the next part of the story. I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the permission. If you and I work together, and maybe you are watching this, having known me from, well, since 2006, 2000. I'm connected with many, many of you still. And if you knew me then, I didn't have permission to say, you're amazing. You're brilliant. You have all of the training, all the certifications, all of the licenses, everything that you need to be the top in your field, to be a top 1% earner. And there's something blocking or stopping you that you should probably investigate with deep change work, with hypnotherapist and self-hypnosis. Didn't have that permission. So given that those patterns and that frustration, it might not be a surprise to you to know that when I personally experienced all of the symptoms of this subconscious programming knocking me out of the game. In 2017, I experienced a complete burnout, where a physical and a mental burnout, which took me out of my business, which was incredibly scary, changes to my brain and my health. I mean, I had no choice but to burn everything down to the ground and recover. And I rose from the ashes because I looked for the most efficient way to recover from the symptoms I was experiencing. And it was hypnotherapy. You don't have to tell me twice. I am somebody who's all about the most efficient way to do something. And so I sought a hypnotherapist, and it was like all of these pieces came together. The work that I'd been doing since I was 11 years old, and self-hypnosis, all the personal development, the NLP I'd learned for sales and marketing, that all the pieces sort of came together, including this understanding that the patterns that I had seen, there were ways to resolve it, to dissolve those self-sabotaging habits. And I had no choice, really, I don't think, but to become a hypnotherapist. And within a year, I had established myself as the entrepreneur's hypnotherapist, bounced back from burnout, with the understanding that I would never, ever engage in those kinds of overworking, self-sabotaging habits ever again. They were in the past where they belong. And I was making more money with a whole lot less work. Started this work knowing that this was a way to continue my mission, which really has been to help adults to overcome self-sabotaging, limiting beliefs that I had to do from the time that I was a little girl. This is the way. And I started this work, and it has been profound. And if you have not gotten a chance to take a look at some of our testimonial videos from Program for Prosperity, I'm just going to ask you, drop P for P in the comments here, and I will make sure that you can see that this isn't just something I'm saying work for me. It's something that works for people. It works for humans. It works for humanity. Because if you today realize that you could probably realize that some of the patterns that you are walking around with today are related to what happened to you in your youth. The things that were said to you, over you, and around you regarding money, success, and all the other areas: health, happiness, love, sex, friendships, all of that. If you recognize that there were limiting beliefs that are imparted to you, they are hardwired in here, and you can debug the system. When I say hardwired, they were hardwired. You have the capacity, ability, it is in you, given the right tools, to undo that. So if you look back, you think now, if you look around your life and what you see does not reflect what you have desired in your heart, that what you've been working to manifest. If you've hit an income ceiling, or if you blew through those numbers, but you tend to lose it just as quickly or get rid of it just as quickly as it comes in, or you always make just enough, right? Or you have found that even if you have the level of financial success that you wanted, you're not enjoying it. You don't have the life that you'd envisioned because you're working so darn hard. Those are the symptoms. Those are some of the symptoms that we see in those of us who are running a business. And if you can recognize that the way that you were brought up and what you learned from your parents, what your parents learned from their parents, and going back multiple generations, what they said or thought about money and success has been ingrained in your action, in your activity. And, if you look back 10 years, even the opportunities that were limited. Go back 20 years, it's a completely different world. Go back to when your parents were entering the workforce and they did have more. They were essentially living under the old rules of life, probably. And then if you think about what their parents imparted on them, did they come through depression? Did they flee a country because of genocide, war? The further we go back, or just depending on where on the planet your ancestry came from, we can see some really ugly things that rippled into today and into you, into the life that you're living today. And those major traumas, genocide, war, slavery, history of alcoholism and abuse in families, all of that is actually carried and passed on to us, not just through the words that we hear and the vibes that we get from our family, but actually in our epigenetics. So without doing this work, I will say, those things in your past, in your ancestry, passed on to you, not your genes, but the way your genes are expressed, can result in the same disease that those ACE scores produce. So trauma in this lifetime can result in disease. Dis-ease, I say, not disease, because I feel like the word disease means that we're incurable. I put an autoimmune condition on a shelf. Okay, so that doesn't exist. Something they tell you is not curable. I just don't believe it for a moment. My body was in dis-ease. Your body might be in dis-ease. That doesn't mean you have a disease that's incurable. So this epigenetic stuff that I'm talking about, the changes that happen in gene expression due to environmental stress is really what it is. That can be in this lifetime, and it's also passed down generationally. They've proven that. So without doing this work, it's really hard to give yourself a clean slate. And it's not your fault. If you look around your life and it's not what you want, it's not your fault, because you have no control over what happened to you when you were a child. That shame about my ACE score, like, again, what? Why is that? You had no control over where the world you were born into, your nurture, right? You had no control over the generations that came before and what they experienced. But you are responsible as an adult today to if you want things to be different, and I believe if you've been watching me now for the last 20 minutes that you want things to be different, right? Then you are responsible for doing the work, the deep change work that can help you to essentially identify those major limiting self-beliefs, beliefs about yourself and your place in the world as it relates to money and success, to identify them and then basically dissolve it. And again, not by going into some long, drawn out process. It can be really very quick, very fast, and take about 15 minutes a day. So, and if you are, and I just love to know who is here with me, who's watching. Let's see if I can even see any of the comments while we're live. Yeah, Facebook isn't even showing me a sidebar. Gotta love it. I'm gonna turn that window down now, so I'm not even distracted by my own face. But if you are here and you are someone who feels that you are on your life's purpose mission, that you are doing what you've been called to do, and if you feel like you're doing what you're called to do, then your love is meant to impact many. If that's you, I'd love to hear from you that you would say, that's me. My work, my love, I am on purpose, and my love is meant to impact many. And if your love is meant to impact many, then you are responsible for doing this work, because these things that will block you financially block you from those people receiving what it is that you are to do, give, provide, allow. If you're a hypnotist, then you're handing them the keys to the toolbox to their freedom, right? And if you're not clear of what the nonsense might have been, I call it nonsense because it's not even remotely interesting or relevant, right? For most of us today, this day, there's so much more opportunity available, regardless of where you live. If you're watching me, you are privileged, and anything and everything is available to you. The only thing that's stopping you is between your own ears, and maybe some skills. But hey, you're developing the skills can even be, blocked by the past programming. So if that's you, and you know that you are meant to impact many, then you really are responsible for doing this work. And so if you think about it and you consider why it seems that some people, find it easy. They find it easy to grow their income, and you watch them, they rise to six figures and beyond, right? Well, you feel like you're working yourself to death or you've hit a glass ceiling. And why is it that the dream life that you envision seems so far out of reach? Or even if you are earning the money, you don't have the time to enjoy it. It's because of those stories, those old stories that are playing in the back of your mind. And so if you look around your life, as I said, and you don't love what you see, then consider that you've been essentially unable to see the potentials, unable to see or the potential opportunities that are around you. Because whatever that underlying subconscious thought, those patterns, and I say subconscious thoughts because these definitely aren't necessarily things that we are conscious of or we know are happening. They're running in the background. Quiet. But those thoughts, they create certain feelings about success, money, right? And you. And whatever those feelings are, they're going to determine your action or inaction towards your goals. And that's going to determine what you manifest, what you actualize, what you have in your life. So if you look around, you don't like what you see, you got to go back to the thought, the reason. The outcome of, maybe making tons of money and then it going out the door just as quickly. That's a symptom of a subconscious limiting belief, self-sabotaging subconscious limiting belief. And the work that you get to do, I didn't make it up. When I was 11 or so and I started to learn about this stuff, it was basically, I was looking at human potential. I was looking at the things that others had done to do things that seemed like they were superhuman. When we think about like Olympians and even like what astronauts have to go through, they are trained in hypnosis, with hypnosis and self-hypnosis. Astronauts, Olympians, top performers the world over. So why not you? Right? I've had this belief, thankfully, about myself since as long as I can remember. If I would see something that somebody else had accomplished. So if you know that if you've seen anybody ever who has it all, happiness, health, wealth, success, great friendships, amazing sex life, travel, all the things that it seems to make a life really prosperous. If you know anybody like that at all, if you could just imagine them, and there are some, not many. I had this belief that, they just know something I don't know yet. But what I didn't know is it wasn't just a knowing. It was that actually those people had either one, been born in a really lucky state where their underlying programming from their family was really supportive, right? Not very many get that. Or they had done the work, the deep work, because nearly everyone who ends up being successful, not just successful monetarily, but prosperous, that has a juicy dream life that, it feels, it lights you up, business lights you up, life lights you up, health is glorious, right? All of that takes what? It takes fixing the underlying programming. And so if you think about all the different areas of your life and you think about the areas that are less than stellar, and it may be your money, that's maybe why you're here, or it might be health, it might be love, it might be friendships, it might be sex, it could be any of those things. If you think about any of those things, the only reason why they're not like the person who has it all is because there's some faulty programming underneath. And guess what? You have the ability to change that. That's the bottle of hope I'm giving you. It's not just a bottle of hope, it's a bottle of knowing. And that the truth is, you can bring the fullness of the experience of life into your life with enough self-love to do this work. So I'm just going to pause on that for a moment. I want you to consider that you can have it all. There's just something you don't know yet, right? And I want you to sit with that for a moment and decide to know it. Decide that despite everything that's come before this moment, you'll do the work, the internal deep work, to be free and to have it all. And, the truth is we get what we authentically desire. The problem with that has been up until now is that even though your desires were, I'll say were, before this moment, even your desires were misshapen. They were limited. If I asked you to imagine your juicy dream life and to give me an explanation of it right now, I promise you that it is limited. I promise you that you can't even dream as big as possible because of those limitations. But your potential expands as you move toward it. And I'm asking you to breathe and drop into knowing that you will move toward it. make the decision today to make the rest of your life the best of your life. And it doesn't have to take some deep, weird, the word weird actually means to directly impact the physical world through the workings of your mind. So it's not so bad. But it doesn't have to be some strange, even esoteric practice. It's literally just reprogramming the mind, just like Olympians, astronauts, and top performers, and you. So just a reminder, a recap that what's going on is that these limiting self-beliefs about yourself that were passed in, into you, that programming that was laid down, it's like having one foot on the brake, right? While you are consciously doing all this other work. And this was my story, before I became a hypnotherapist and really learned how to, well, first of all, you've got to actually get rid of the poverty programming before you try to overwrite the system. Meaning all of the affirmations, the NLP, all the stuff that I was doing, conscious, that was a lot of conscious work. Some of it was sort of subconscious, but it wasn't the deep work that I learned to do. But that is like having one foot on the brake while you consciously are pushing to, the licenses, the certifications, the learnings, the doings, it's like, and what happens when you have one foot on the brake and one foot on the gas? Oh, major stress and burnout. That's what happens. And burnout is not it's a word that people throw around a lot, but I invite you to go through my Zero Burnout Business Growth Workshop and learn about burnout, the mental syndrome, because it is no light matter. So one foot on the back brakes from the poverty programming, right? The self-sabotage, and one foot on the gas. And until you get the foot off the brake, until you debug the system, all of the conscious work that you've done, all the courses that you've invested in, all the licenses you already have, everything you've already done can't possibly be applied fully. And if you've been using affirmations, meditations, those kinds of things, all good. But if affirmations feel like lies, it's because they're actually in stark opposition to the poverty programming, and those can literally make you sick, okay? So affirmations can make you sick. Whoa, that's a statement, but it is, because if on one hand you're saying, I'm incredibly wealthy, I am able to bless people with my wealth, I live on the beach, whatever the heck your things are. You're saying this, these are your affirmations. I am this. And on the other hand, there's a part of you that goes, if you're wealthy, you could die. I've had clients that was literally like their block. They had no idea. But it's one that's very common. You can either have success or health. So if there's part of you that thinks that and you don't even realize it, right, it's happening, then it's going, hell no, you will not be wealthy because you'll die. Its number one purpose in life, your brain, that is, your thinker, your subconscious, is to keep you alive and keep you safe. So it's saying no. So affirmations, without debugging that system, are basically, they can feel like lies, and they can do more harm than good. And so we first must work to eliminate the poverty programming. And then program it, be programmed for prosperity. So then you develop the wealth habits, right? You move from that old way of being, and the thoughts are different. Your actions become really different based on the feelings that you have about yourself in relations to wealth, and money, and success. Your actions then, man, they change. You develop real wealth habits. And so it becomes easy for you to then change what you see in your world. Stop. I don't want you to get too excited about your future. Anything less than not following this advice isn't success, wealth, freedom, isn't it? I mean, you could go back to the way that you've been. You could just go, oh, that was an interesting talk from that hypnotist lady. She had a really hard life and she's turned it around. Good for her. She's so lucky. And then you could go back to the like scrolling through the feed and looking at all the other lucky people and feeling really crappy about yourself because, you didn't take action. Or you could remain in confusion about which whiz bang tactic is the next thing to grow your business and thinking that that's the answer. It's not a whiz bang tactic, I promise you. Or you could allow yourself to hit the easy button by getting your subconscious mind on board so you can apply everything you've already learned. What if all of the investment that you've made over time actually paid off because you were allowed like percolated down into the system to be applied? And what if you applied all of the training that you've already gotten? What if you were to make quantum leaps in your business, not because you learned something new, but because you applied something you already, quote unquote, knew, because the brakes were off. That's what I'm talking about. All right. So if you're ready for that, I just want you to just comment for me that you're ready to take the brakes off, because until you do, until you really illuminate those limiting beliefs that are in the subconscious mind, you will not, unfortunately, it's like you have blinders on. You can't even see the opportunities that are all around you. All right, so I told you that we were going to talk about the symptoms. We've discussed some of those, some of the ways that you may find the money blocks manifesting in your life. We've talked about the reasons that, those limiting, the reasons, the blocks, the types of blocks and why they exist, from limiting beliefs that were imparted to you from your family of origin, society, your family, your extended family, your friends, media. Did I say media? Huge. And we talked about how you're changing the thoughts that run in the brain, the mind, will change the way you feel about yourself in relation to money, wealth, and success, which results in different actions, different habits, which will give you different outcome. Fact is that it's said that we have the same, we have about 65,000 or so. I don't know how the heck they measure it, but 65 to 85. It's a big difference, I think, 20,000 thoughts a day. But there's about 65 to 85,000 thoughts a day, and they say about 85% of them are negative. Imagine that, the thinker just yapping all day, trying to keep you safe and small, trying to keep you from making the impact that you know that you're meant to do with your business, with your love, right? And so they say that people they live the same day over and over again from about age 35, unless they're doing the change work, unless they're doing the work to change what we call the default mode network, to change those thoughts that are running the show. So would you like to identify some of those thoughts? Because I told you, we talked about the symptoms and how those blocks happen. I would like to give you a gift now. And all you've got to do to get this gift is allow yourself a few moments of calm and no distractions. And I'm going to go through this process. And often when I do this on a live, I hear people, commenting that was too fast. So what I'm going to say is, even before I get started, comment 20 blocks now on this post, and I'll give you a video of this and some handouts to actually help you so that you can do this slower without anything else going on. This is some of the most profound work that you can do. And if you have been doing a whole lot of work on yourself, I just want to, first of all, congratulate you. We are different. Entrepreneurs are different. We're about 3% of the population. Okay. Entrepreneurs, business people, the leaders in that sense are only about 3% of the population. We're different. We're weird. And doing the work is part of what must be done in order to succeed, to have the impact of what you want to change in the world, right? Entrepreneurs are change makers. Business owners are business owners. They, look for profit in a business. You can be both, but an entrepreneur really is a change maker, right? Looking to solve problems in life. So do this work. And if you've been doing this work, we're about to go through a process here, and then we're going to wrap up. Just so you know, if you're sitting here going, she's 40 something minutes in, I don't know how much longer I can watch. We're going to do this. We're going to wrap up, and I'm going to give you your solution before we wrap. But if you've been doing this work, some of these, they're just going to blip on by. You're going to be like, oh, that felt good. Oh, that was nice. It's the ones that feel icky and sticky that you want to listen for. Okay, so I'm going to say some words as after I let you just come down just a couple notches to hopefully get down into that subconscious mind and hear what the thinker has to say. I don't want to know what your cheerleader has to say. I don't want to know what you have been studying and affirming and, I feel so good. You know what? If it just feels like neutral, that's true. If it feels like you're trying to freaking force it and push it, that's the affirmations that's actually probably pushing against something that's, the brake is on there. So as you go through this, if it feels fine, don't worry about it. Just go, ooh, yeah, it's fine, easy. If it feels icky or sticky, or if words come up that you're like, holy crap, I thought I was over that a long time ago, or geez, that's that, then you can simply open your eyes and come up and state the words that came out in your subconscious. This is the beginning of the work. You're actually developing what's called metacognition. You can hear what the thinker has to say. If you don't have awareness of what the thinker has to say, then you can't change it, right? But we are working to change it. So you can open up your eyes, write down what you heard, what your mind said, and then close your eyes down again and keep going. Again, if you find that I go too fast here, it's fine. You can get the video, or of course, we can work one-to-one, and we can do this in a different fashion that takes you way, way deeper. Are you ready to go? If you're ready, just let me know. Let me know. And I'm not taking you deep into trance. This is not a hypnotic experience. I'm literally just taking you down a couple notches from beta, which is what you've been listening to me. You might be in and out of alpha as you hear stories, right? And hopefully just take you down to that nice alpha, theta, somewhere in between there. And it just takes a few slow, deep breaths. Going to take you down there. I'm going to say some words. And if you hear something, feel something that doesn't feel congruent to the person you are today, that is dishonorable to your goals and dreams when it comes to your business, that's what you're going to write down. Let's get real. Ready? All right. So with that, if you're ready, you're going to just put your feet flat on the floor. You can either close your eyes, which I do recommend. It's easier for us to go within with your eyes closed. Or you can stare at one thing in your environment, something that makes you feel at peace, at ease, or just something neutral. But that should be straight ahead of you, maybe a little bit above and in front of you, if you're going to keep your eyes open. Just staring now, putting all of your attention on that thing. And as you put all your attention on that thing, if your eyes are open, just letting your peripheral vision open so that you kind of can see it all and breathe. And if your eyes are closed, then breathe in. Eyes closed or open, breathe in all the way down into your belly and let that go slowly. That's right. Your feet are flat on the floor. And just pay attention to your breath, breathing in, holding it to the top, 2, 3, 4, and letting it go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's right. Breathing in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding it at the top. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And just breathing in slowly all the way down into your belly, letting it go slowly and letting your body relax. And as I say these words, just letting whatever the first thing that comes up from your gut, the first thing that comes to you. When I say the words, money is, wealth is, rich people are, really rich people are. If I have a lot of money, the reason I don't have a lot of money is the problem with having money is the problem with being rich is if I become really wealthy, I won't be able to if I become really wealthy, I'm afraid I'll lose. If I become really wealthy, I'm afraid I'll have to sacrifice. If I make a lot of money, I'm afraid that people will think if I charge more for my services, if I charge a lot for my services, people will think if I charge a lot of money for my services, people will think I am. And when you take a look at your childhood and your family, you consider the beliefs and thoughts around money, wealth, and success you grew up with. I'm going to use mom and dad, but that could be other people for you. Just let your mind fix it, as I say. My mom said or thought money was. My dad said or thought money was. Growing up, I learned that money was in my culture, my religion, my town of origin. I learned that money was. And just ask yourself, What am I risking if I go after my dreams? All right, very good. And now you can just open your eyes and look at the answers that you gave and ask which of these feel the worst? And just put a little mark next to them because these are the most important things for you to work with. You can know that these are the blocks. The symptoms are literally a symptom of these blocks, right? These limiting beliefs about yourself, money, even just the words money, wealth, riches, success, um, all of this. There's so many words have such charge, but know that these are the things that you put a little star by. They're the things that are affecting your action or inaction and going after your goals. They're the things that are, keeping you from seeing opportunity that's around you. They're the things that keep you small, that keep you from actually taking action towards your goals. They're the things that keep you saying and doing things every single day that cause you to repel your good fortune. And so as we bring those things to the very forefront of your mind, you can have a conscious awareness, but not so that you can go, oh, now I know. If that's all it took, man, that'd be fantastic. But you now know what they are so that you can work on them subconsciously when you're programmed for prosperity. And I have many ways for you to resolve these conflicts, these things that are a direct opposition to your juicy dream life. Many ways that you can take your foot off the brake so that all of the action that you've been taking towards your dreams can actually be actualized. And so I'm going to make an invitation for you to take my Program for Prosperity self-hypnosis course. It is designed to essentially eliminate the poverty programming and install wealth programming, install the prosperity programming. So not only do you change the level of subconscious thought so that you can feel differently about yourself and in relations to wealth, money, success, and prosperity, but you can take action towards your dreams, manifest the life that you desire without ever sacrificing your mental, physical health, happiness, or anything at all. That's why it's called Program for Prosperity. And yes, it focuses on the money and on your financial goals, but in a really holistic way. A way that means that not only will you achieve your financial goals, but you'll do it and enjoy it along the way and there. So you'll never get to the point where you were like, I was top of success in everybody's book and not only miserable, but then really sick and taken out of the game. So you can achieve more, make more money with less work. Take a look at those testimonials. All you got to do is put the P for P in the comments here. I'll make sure that you get information on Program for Prosperity, which includes those beautiful testimonials. And also, if you know that you'd like to dive deeper with me in hypnotherapy and have one-to-one guidance as you work through this course, that information is also available to you, and I'll make sure you get it. So just comment P for P on this course, on this link, I should say. And so if you are ready to completely unlock the money in your mind and radically shift your relationship with money, success, and all of your having your dreams come into your experience far faster than you ever thought possible, then you'll accept my invitation and we'll spend some more time talking about these things in ways that are exactly relevant, personal to you. All right. So with that, I'm going to say blessings. We're going to wrap this up. I'm Melanie McCool, the entrepreneur's hypnotherapist, and I look forward to helping you to realize your dreams. All right. Awesome. So be well. Bye. Mhm.